I want to say hello to everyone. Once again, our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council is bringing forth an opportunity for us to learn about and appreciate the communities around us. This time, we're growing in our knowledge of the invaluable role Black sororities have played in our history and the role they continue to play in their lifelong commitment to public service with a focus on uplifting the African American community. We have a very full agenda with some great speakers today. So with that, I will turn it over to Alicia Malone, TESU's Assistant Dean Extraordinaire, proud Alpha Kappa Alpha member and moderator of today's panel. Alicia.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. As Dr. Hancock just said, I'm Alicia Malone, and I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the Epsilon Upsilon Omega chapter, which is located in Trenton, New Jersey. I currently serve as the recording secretary, but I am also the immediate past president of that chapter. And I welcome you, and I'm so excited to hear about what we will hear about today. So I will be introducing our panelists for this afternoon. And I will be introducing them in the order of their organization's founding. And so our first panelist is Sherry Knight from Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, which was founded in 1908. Sherry, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sherry Knight. I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Upsilon Delta Omega chapter, centered and located in Voorhees/Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I have been an active member for 27 years, celebrating my 27th anniversary on April 28th, 2023. So I'm very excited about that. And I am also a life member. Additionally, I am currently the epistolist of my chapter, which is the person who does the correspondence for our chapter. And I have been in that role for my second term as well. And my job title is, I'm sorry, I can't talk, the Director of Curriculum Instruction and Equity in Burlington City School District. And I'm very pleased to be here today.
Thank you, Sherry. We appreciate you being here. Next, we have Bianca Taylor Davis, who is representing Delta Sigma Theta sorority, which was founded in 1913. Bianca?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bianca Taylor Davis. I am representing the Trenton Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I am also here representing Thomas Edison, as I am an academic evaluator here at the college.
Thank you, Bianca. Our next representative is Gwendolyn Jennings, who is representing Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, which was founded in 1920.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's just a joy to be here. As Alicia mentioned, my name is Gwendolyn Jennings. I'm a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Epsilon Psi Zeta chapter, which is located in Mercer County. That encompasses not only Trenton, but Princeton and the surrounding area. Currently, I am not an officer. I have held many offices. I've been in the sorority for over 50 years. So currently, I am a member of the Audit Committee, the Adopt a School Committee, the Stork's Nest Committee, and the last thing I want to say, I am presently retired. I was an educator, a teacher, an administrator in the Trenton Public Schools for over 40 years. I retired in 2011, but I managed to stay pretty busy. So it's great to be here.
Thank you, and we are so excited to have you with us. And rounding out our panelists, we have LaChele Jenkins, who is representing Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. As she has stated, my name is LaChele Jenkins, and I'm representing Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated, the chapter Mu Lambda Sigma, which is located in Mercer County, New Jersey. I am currently serving as the chapter vice president, and in my career, I am a behavior specialist consultant for the School District of Philadelphia.
Thank you, and we are excited, and thank you for spending your afternoon, a little bit of time with us today. So, I will be posing questions to the panelists today. And when I pose the question, I just want you to jump in and answer the question. I would like to hear from each one of you, but I'm not gonna, because I don't want to go in any particular order. Just jump in when you hear the question and answer. So before I pose the questions to our panelists, I just wanted to give you all a little bit of background just for context. So you'll notice that myself and all the panelists, we are not undergraduates. We are not in school. You heard Sherry say she's been in for over 27 years. You heard Gwendolyn say she's been in for over 50 years. And one of the things that people, you know, a lot of times I get the raised eyebrow when people will say, so what are you doing this weekend? And I'll say, my sorority is having an event, so I'm going to be busy all weekend doing things for my sorority. And people will say, what are you doing in sorority? You're not in college anymore. Well, one of the things that distinguishes Black sororities and fraternities from other sororities and fraternities that may be a little different is our sororities continue once you graduate from college. That is just the beginning. Once you graduate from college, they were developed, fraternities and sororities, and historically Black fraternities and sororities were developed and created to be lifelong in the community. And this was because in the early 1900s, when we were all founded, there weren't many Black people who were in college. And so when they were founded, it was a need and something that they felt that those who not only were in college to academically and socially support one another, but there needed to be a voice in the community for those who didn't have a voice. And so it was the charge of these sororities and fraternities to continue the works that had started at our undergraduate years into the community. And so it's a lifelong commitment. Once you are a member of a sorority, it is something that you do for the rest of your life. And so you'll see us, and we won't be young in the community. It doesn't mean that we're not still in the undergraduate chapters, and we all have chapters at the undergraduate level, and we all still support and mentor and are bringing up our undergraduates. But it's an excitement for our undergraduates as well to see that when they leave those walls of the college, that they can continue to serve and do the things that are in the community. So all of our organizations have been in existence for over 100 years, and we serve our communities through what they're called either alumni or graduate chapters, which is what you would be in when you are outside of your undergraduate years. And one of the things that people should also know is that if you don't join as an undergraduate, the door is not closed. You can still join at a graduate level. And that may come up in some of the conversation that we have today, because I'm sure some of us have come in to these organizations as graduate members and not at the undergraduate level. And so the last thing that I wanted to say is, if anyone at any point during the presentation has questions, please put them in the Q&A. There will be time at the end where we will be answering questions that you may have. And so with that, I am going to start the questions. And so again, just jump in if you want to answer. And if once one person stops, if the next person wants to jump in, please feel free to jump in. So what would you like for people to know? And this is for each one of you. What would you like people to know who are not familiar with your organization, to know about your organization's purpose, its intent, and its mission? Anyone?
I'll go first. Our intent and our mission and our purpose is to cultivate and encourage high standards and ethical standards, promote equity and friendship among college women. As Alicia mentioned, this was founded in the college setting at Howard University in 1908. However, we still cultivate that as a graduate chapter still, even though we're not in college. Studying to alleviate problems concerning girls and women in order to improve their social stature, maintain the progression and interest in college life for those who are in college. And lastly is to be a service to all mankind. And that's our overall mantra in Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Thank you, Sherry. Anyone else?
Hi,
Well,
yes.
I can say, I'm sorry, Bianca, go ahead. Well, I can say Zeta Phi Beta was founded on 4 principles, and we still try to embody those principles. And those principles are scholarship, because we believe that valuing education, and supporting individuals who are trying to continue their education after high school is very important. Another one of our principles is service. And Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, our mantra, so to speak, is Zeta is a community conscious, action-oriented organization dedicated to transforming the lives of others. And we've done that in a number of ways. Our third principle is sisterhood, and that's developing a bond or relationship with other women that can last a lifetime of support, friendship, respect, and trust. And then our fourth principle is finer womanhood, which celebrates the standards, morals, customs, attributes we believe all women should possess. So that's how I would respond to that question.
Thank you, Gwendolyn. Anyone else? Bianca?
Yes, in regards to Delta Sigma Theta, we are a organization of college educated women, but we not only focus on those who are in college. For our pillars, we focus for sisterhood, scholarship, service, and social action. And even in recent years, you have seen us on many different social action platforms that include equity in education, equity in the workforce, as well as social justice reform. So throughout our over 1,000 chapters worldwide, not just here within the US, we strive to make sure that we are addressing the needs and concerns of those within the Black community. You would see the local chapters hitting their benchmarks for different ideas and platforms that they wish to put forth, but we all do so under our national leadership, which kind of gives us the leeway of areas that we need to touch on and address. And for many instances, it's the same issues nationwide. So it's not just an issue here within the city of Trenton, it's an issue whether it's in Jackson, Mississippi, Compton, California, or Miami, Florida. So it's our mission intends to help all communities throughout the United States and the world wide.
Thank you, Bianca. LaChele?
Sounding very similar to the ladies who have spoken already, it's good to hear that we all, even though we are representing different entities, have a similar thought. And so when it comes to the lines of Sigma Gamma Rho, I would say that we line up with that as well, as far as scholarship, sisterhood, and service. And so our focal point is to, be proactive in our communities by offering, different leadership development, education to our youth. Those are different things that we have as far as our programs and our activities. And so we also like to address any concerns that impact our society, whether it be educationally, civically, as well as economically. And so that's why our slogan is greater service, greater progress, because we're for all.
Okay, thank you for that. And so just as LaChele said, we are all, even though we're different organizations, but we're all sisters in sorority. We all support each other through Pan-Hellenic councils, which incorporates the historically Black fraternities and sororities. And so we all, sisterhood, scholarship, service, social justice, it's all the same things that in different ways, but we are all serving our communities, and we do make an impact. And so the next question is, the next question that I'm going to ask, since we're talking about impacting, what was, and this will be posed to each one of you, and you can jump in any order, what was your reason for joining your specific sorority, and how has your affiliation impacted you, since we're talking about impact?
I would like to respond to that first, and I'll tell you why. I attended Trenton State College before it was the College of New Jersey. And as a student at Trenton State, there were no Black sororities or fraternities at Trenton State when I was a student there. So I became a member because I earned a scholarship, and the person, the organization that she was in, she was a member of Zeta, but she was also a member of the organization that gave me the scholarship. So she was instrumental in letting me know, giving me information about Zeta Phi Beta sorority, encouraging me to become a member of Zeta Phi Beta sorority. And that was on December 13th, 1969 was when I actually became a member. Some of you maybe were not even born then. But it's been quite a journey. It's been very interesting. And I can say when I was at Trenton State many years ago, I remember there were other sororities and fraternities on campus. And I can remember students pledging, you know, walking in lines, but most of them did not look like me. So when I became a member of the grad chapter, and then later on, there became a chapter, they started a chapter at the College of New Jersey, and I was one of the advisors. So I go back before. So I became a member initially of a grad chapter.
Thank you for that answer. And that was one of the things that I talked about or said in the beginning, is that just because a lot of times you don't join at the undergraduate level because there may not have been a chapter on your campus. And so there's still an opportunity at a graduate level to join and still make an impact. And in your case, it was someone who you knew, who was mentoring you, who kind of sparked that light of Zeta Phi Beta. Anyone else?
Yes. For me, I'm actually a legacy. My mother is also a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and including my godmother, a few aunts. So it was always kind of indoctrinated in me, so to speak, that Delta Sigma Theta was the way to go. But particularly seeing the work that they've done throughout the years. In addition, I also attended the Trenton Public School System. I graduated from Trenton Central High School. A lot of my teachers and administrators were members of Delta Sigma Theta. So I got to see how a different aspect of how the work was being put in versus just seeing a family member. You were able to see how nurturing and caring, and to this very day, I can actually pick up the phone from a former principal or a former teacher, and just to check in, just to see how things are going. And that always stuck with me, like, these Delta ladies, you know, they got some juice. And they always supported me, and I always had that support at home. But you know, sometimes you kind of veer off and you say, I don't want to do what my parents do, but then you kind of learn as you get older that what they're trying to tell you is kind of the way that things should go. And for me, I didn't pledge undergrad. I went over with the Trenton Alumni chapter in 2017, just because sometimes the days and months didn't add up for me at the time when the opportunity, and I knew my opportunity would come. And when it did, I was blessed to be able to become a member of the Trenton Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So it has impacted me greatly. One, because I am never not busy. Once my job is done, there's always something Delta related, family related, and most of the time it kind of comes in together. One, because my husband is also a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So we've kind of got this lifetime commitment thing in the household where somebody's always doing something. There's always a service project. There's always some type of meeting or engagement that we're attending. So it's just kind of, when we say, and throughout all of us here, when we say it's a lifetime commitment, we mean that to the umpteenth power, that there is always something that we're involved in. It doesn't matter whether it's our chapter, someone else's chapter, a convention, a conference, there is always something there for us to do. And it just greatly impacts how we move forward each day.
Thank you. And one of the things that you said is, even if it's another chapter, it may be another organization, because we collaborate with each other. We may have programs with the Deltas, or I've had programs with each one of these organizations through my chapter. And so we are separate, but we are sisters in organization. Anyone else?
Okay. My reason for joining the Black sorority has been because I wanted something that was better, bigger than me. And in high school, I knew that I wanted to be an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman, and I was able to be around women who were working in the community and giving back. And I'm like, I'm going to be one of those one day. As Bianca mentioned, college, I did it as a graduate as well. Things didn't line up in college as when I was attending, and the opportunity did present itself. 27 years ago and being able to do so. So I've been busy, and the impact that we're making in the community is what gives me my drive and my why. I feel like I'm compassionate, I have empathy, and I think it's very important for us to see and put in the work for those who may be less fortunate than we are, and making sure that we're providing them with the resources and skill sets that they need to be successful as well. So that's a big part for me as well. I have a daughter who went to the University of Alabama, who is also my legacy. She is a soror as well. So I have a daughter soror, and she has been in a sorority for 6 years now. So, she has also followed in my footsteps in that aspect, and giving back and know the means of working hard and providing your community with the tasks and skill sets that they need. It's definitely something I'm glad I did. I would do it all over again. Being a life member, I am committed to doing this until I'm no longer here on this earth, and hopefully, being able to impact someone else's life.
Thank you. And LaChele.
Yes, for me, my story sounds very similar to that of Bianca. My family, literally every D9 is represented. So at a very young age, I knew that you was going to fall into one of these buckets. So when I was an undergrad, I didn't know quite where that would land. So it wasn't until the era of Facebook and you start to, reconnect with people that you lost contact with. And so a lot of those people who have a connection with and networking just happened to be Sigma Gamma Rho. I didn't know it because it wasn't like, it was one of those things, they may have been posting things of that nature, but I just didn't see it at the time. So it wasn't until that opportunity presented itself and I was invited to different events. I said, these are my sisters. I could see myself being here, and being a mother of 3 daughters. I'm very intentional about things that I align myself with. And so I felt like for them, it aligned with what I wanted to pass on to my daughters. And now they are part of the Rower Club and the Rosebuds and things of that nature. So I see them hopefully one day, like yourself, Sherry, and them being my legacy when it comes to the world of Sigma Gamma Rho.
Thank you. And with that, I just want to say, in all of these situations, it was someone in their lives that had an impact on them. And so one of the things that you never know who's watching you. So, when you're going through life and your day to day, you never know who's watching you and who is saying, I want to be like that person, or maybe I shouldn't be like that person. So it's always, be careful of what you do, because you just never know who's looking at you. I also have a daughter who is a legacy, who came in just a year ago, and I came in as a graduate member as well. So we all kind of have the similar story where we did not do it at undergrad, but we have made an impact in our communities at the graduate level. Okay, so my next question is there something, how has your sorority contributed to Black history and Black communities? I know that this is probably more about your service projects, and you can talk about whatever service projects that you have in the community. So as far as Black history programs, I know my chapter doesn't particularly have a Black history program, because it's pretty much Black history 365 days a year, because we are serving the Black community. So pinpointing it to Black history, we may have programs, but we're always supporting the Black history. But can you talk about some of the programs that your chapter has done in your community and has made an impact?
Under our new administration, we have 6 programs that fall under our president, Danette Anthony Reed, and the 6 of those programs are strengthening our sisterhood. And this is one that we do in our community where it's more involved with our sorority sisters, where we're performing sister squads and we're making sure that we're doing random acts of kindness for each other and just really uplifting each other, which a sisterhood does, right? When you have sisters, you always want to make sure that they're in a good space and you want to lift them up. So that's what that platform does. We also have one called Empowering Our Families. Empowering Our Families in our community, one of our largest initiatives is our CHIP program, where we do realize that there are food insecurity with our kids that are in schools. So what we have been doing this year since she was put into office has been to prepare breakfasts and lunches for our students when they go home on the weekend in various schooling locations. And that has been successful to make sure that the students have something to eat when they're not in school and at home. Our next one is building our economic wealth. And I must say for first, and I guess that will definitely go down in Black history, is that we have our FMO credit union. We are the first Black sorority to be able to open a all-women credit union for our members. So we're looking forward to kicking it off. That has just been announced. It was mentioned in Black Enterprise this past week. So we're really excited about making that history as well. We have enhancing our environment, where we're going to try to get back to our environment. As you know, a lot of trees have been lost, cut down, burned. So now we're going into one of our platforms to make sure that we're trying to plant trees. So we're going to try to put as many trees back that have been taken away or torn down. Advocate for social justice. This is something that's very important to all of us. And I think you heard that in some of our introductions as well. But we're continuing to try to perpetuate and build up our politicians and our political influencers. We want to make sure that people are registered to vote. So our biggest piece is making sure that we get people out to vote, regardless of what your affiliations are, but making sure that you're there to do that. And then lifting up our local communities. So in this particular platform, we're looking to make a local change and a big impact. So whatever that looks like, whether we're showcasing our community leaders, whether we're building, and if it's building a house for Habitats of Humanity, we want to make sure that our communities in which we serve are getting the services and the needs and their needs are being met.
Thank you, Sherry. Anyone else want to talk about your programs? Bianca?
Yes, for Delta Sigma Theta, we actually run our programs under our 5-point thrust, which includes economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, as well as political awareness and involvement. Under those points, we have many programs that include first home buyers programs for African-American families to address the housing climate within the country. We also have, when we look at educational development, a lot of our youth programs fall under that, which include the Dr. Betty Shabazz program for middle school students. We also have the, we now call it the Delta Gems. When I was a part of it, it was called Delta Teens, as well as the Embody program for national, which actually focuses on our young men in the community. We also have different programs that include those that address the HIV/AIDS awareness climax. And I'll go into our local chapter, we have several programs that include reading adventures for our K through 5th grade students that address many literacy and development for those students. We also have our local Sisters Walk, which actually will be taking place this May. And I think you did ask in particular, what do we do for Black history? Because we are 365 Black, we don't have like a particular things that we do. However, we do grab our youth during this month, during Black History Month, which we have a Black History program where our youth put on a program that exhibits different themes of the year. And this year's theme includes understanding history through the arts. And with that program, we not only have our youth programs, but we also have the youth programs of several of the organizations that are listed here, as well as different schools and organizations throughout the Mercer County area. So that actually will be taking place this Saturday virtually this year. We're hoping that we'll be able to bring it back in person in the coming years, but it's usually a nice way to show the talent of our youth throughout the county.
Thank you, Bianca. And I know that our youth have participated in that program in the past. And it's always been a wonderful program. Anyone else? Gwendolyn or LaChele? Gwen.
I would respond to that question in this way. Black sororities are an important part of Black history. We have made significant contributions to our country, and that's not only Zeta Phi Beta, that's all of us in a variety of ways. And every area, we are involved in politics, education, healthcare, medicine, engineering, the military, entertainment. I wanted to mention a couple of Zetas who are, you may have heard, Dionne Warwick was a Zeta, Anita Hill, and Cheryl Underwood. And I think that in reference to the programs that we have implemented, our national thrust is called Z-Hope, which means Zetas helping other people excel. And some of the things we're involved in: social action, voter registration, candidates forum we've sponsored for many, many years. We have yearly walks to help with prostate cancer, breast cancer, St. Jude's Hospital. We have these walks to raise money for these very important causes. We have many other programs. So a couple I want to mention are Adopt a School, which we adopt a school within the areas where we serve. And we go into classrooms to support the students, the teachers, by providing supplies and materials, reading with the children, awarding them or supporting them to encourage them and let them know the importance of coming to school on a regular basis and doing their very best. We also have a program called the Stork's Nest, where we work with pregnant mothers and young children. And we provide educational support because many of our mothers do not understand the importance of taking care of themselves, going to the doctors on a regular basis. And we provide to them not only the educational component, but also supplies and materials to help them raise their babies in a safe and healthy environment. We've had a partnership with the March of Dimes for over 50 years, and that's where the Stork's Nest project sort of stems from. The other thing I wanted to add just briefly is, we have youth groups for various ages, starting I think from maybe 5 up until 17. And our youth group is called, we have the Amicats, the Prolettes, and the Arcanets. So depending on what age they are, that would determine which of those groups they would be in. So we try to support our not only our youth, but people within our community in a variety of ways. So I've tried to share most of those with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And LaChele, tell us a little bit about your programs.
So we have several national programs. Only going to highlight a few. We have Hattie McDaniel Breast Cancer Awareness. We also have different initiatives that target domestic violence, heart health, food awareness, and any other issues that might affect women, because that's what we're talking about with them for our mental health, physical health, because all those areas are very, very important. We even have our Rower and our Rosebud clubs that are gravitated towards our younger women and little girls, as far as building up their self-esteem and their awareness and knowing them, letting them know that they have a voice. And I'm a proud advisor for the Rowers, which is like the teenagers. So preparing them for college and what does life look like after high school and financial literacy and things like that. And, we have our other initiatives like Operation Big Book Bag, where we make sure that, students have the supplies necessary for school, and, Project Cradle Care for those women who do not have the supplies necessary for when they're having the children and bringing them into this world. So we have a lot of different things in partnerships as far as March of Dimes, as well as with St. Jude. So again, we are always trying to do something to impact our community. I would say my local chapter this year, as far as Black History Month was concerned, we made it our business to make sure that we supported and highlighted Black-owned businesses in our area, Mercer County, and we highlighted them on our social media platforms, because a lot of times people don't know where they are located, where you can buy and support them. So we made it our business to put them in the forefront. So again, putting back into our community in that way financially.
Thank you. And I just wanted to highlight some of the things that are going on, because a lot of the organizations that are represented here today are right here in the Trenton community. So for those of you who are watching, if there are activities that you would want to participate in, you could go to our different websites to find out what's going on, to see if there is a walk that's going on or something that you can participate in if you would like to help out in the community as well. My chapter, the Epsilon Upsilon Omega chapter, we have childhood hunger, where whereas someone said that we do meals we've adopted a school, and we prepare bags of food to go home on the weekends for those children, because a lot of times kids, the meals that they get during the day at school are the only meals that they get. And so we prepare meals, the non-perishable things that they can take home over the weekend and send that to them. This past weekend, we did a project called Veterans and Valentines, where we did care packages for our local VFW for the veterans, where there was, soaps and deodorants and toothbrushes and toothpastes, things to help out in that way. We have financial literacy programs. We also have youth groups. I think we all have youth groups, and that's one of the ways that we start sewing into the community, because I've heard firsthand from youth in all of these that are in all of these different organizations now, that said that they became interested as a young person because they were involved in our youth groups. And so that's one of the ways that we help to keep the youth on the straight and narrow path, and give them an outlet and someone to talk to, and get them involved in our youth programs. A lot of the youth who when they were younger had no idea that they wanted to go to college until they met one of us or someone in our organizations. And that sparked their interest in, what is this college thing? And what is this sorority or fraternity thing? So just planting those early seeds for, and we all do that in our organizations. And so thank you all for the programs that you do. The next question, and I think this may be one of the last questions before we go to question and answer section, but is there a personal hero from your sorority that you would like to talk about, and how has that person influenced you and inspired you? Anyone have a personal hero?
I'll start. My personal hero right now, and who is a history maker, obviously, is our vice president. Obviously, Kamala Harris. I had the pleasure of seeing her this summer at our biannual conference, and it was amazing to see her in action. And my reason, again, because she's given back wholeheartedly, not just to the state of California where she started, but now to our country, and being the woman to break the glass ceiling and be the first African-American woman to be our vice president stands out. We want to stand big and tall, and I think it's important for us to know that we can achieve and dream big, and it's okay. And I hope that, not just all of our sorority members and D9, but any woman organization feels as if they can too make that difference. So that's what impacts me and who stands out for me.
Okay. Anyone else? And you don't have to answer this. This is not one for each organization, but if there's someone that you can think of that you are, that stands out as a hero in your mind.
I would respond to that question by saying there is a member of our chapter, actually, who has been a Zeta for over 65 years. And she's active. She is in her 80s. And she just retired from her full-time job in December.
Wow.
She's just amazing. She's got a lot of energy, sometimes needs a cane, but sometimes will actually refuse. I don't want that. I don't want that. So the energy that she has, the tenacity that she has, the love she has for Zeta at 88 years old is just amazing. So that's somebody who I admire. And if I'm still alive at 88, hopefully I'll be doing what she's doing now, not only for Zeta, but for our community and for our world. So that's the person. And her name is Dove Dolores Smalls. And she just retired from her job December 21st, 2022.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. LaChele, I see you come off of mute.
Yes, that's kind of a hard question. To just select one person. So I would have to say for me, because out of everyone who's on this panel, I'm probably the newest in my sorority. So only been in there 2 going on 3 years. So for me, being someone who is new coming in, I would have to say all of my sorors, because again, they all have played a special part in my life and welcomed me into the organization. And even in that short period of time, even trusted me to be in leadership and pushing me forward to become better and as a person overall. Also just like not just the support from within the sorority, but even outside of the sorority, like my personal endeavors and my businesses and things of that nature, their support and pushing me in those things as well. And even when I have been sick and think that you're by yourself, you really, really aren't. You fall back on the sisterhood. So I say for me, it's all of them. They all play a role, whether it be locally, regional, or even nationally. I look up to all of them because they all have something that I can learn from and aspire to be.
Thank you.
And I think I would piggyback off of that. I did previously state that I am a legacy. So my mother will always be my #1 hero in this Delta walk. But just another person that always stood out to me. And I can remember going to national conventions as a child with my mother. One particular year, I actually had the pleasure of hearing our 22nd national president, Dr. Gwendolyn E. Boyd, and just her stature and her finesse, just how she just commands the room. You just kind of just sit there and go, wow. And every time I would hear her speak, I would go, that lady is Delta Sigma Theta all the way. And even now as a member, I just sit there and go, wow, I can take in her words and her wisdom. And even as she's also a reverend, like hearing her sermons, and it's just going, wow, her words can just impact me and just kind of hit a trigger in me and go, okay, I got this. Even sometimes when you think you're down and it's you hear her words and you go, you know what? Sarah Boyd said, you got this. You got it going. There's always some type of verb or noun that she gives you, and you're like, I got it. I'm going to keep it moving. So that's one of the, just one, because as LaChele speaks, I think my entire sorority uplifts me, and especially my local chapter. But that just one person that kind of sticks out that says, who is Delta Sigma Theta? Dr. Gwendolyn E. Boyd is one of my whys going forward in this walk.
Thank you for that. And I certainly understand that, because there are certain people that just have that leave that mark on you. And when they enter the room, it's just their presence that makes them unforgettable. I would say for myself, it's probably, again, all of the people that I've met in this sorority, but we have, we call them golden members who have had 50 years or more in our sorority. And when I see one of the people who had a great impact on me, her name was Betty Cole. She has since passed, but I was at her 90th birthday party, and she was active in Alpha Kappa Alpha. I think she pledged at West Virginia University like in 1942, and she was active in Alpha Kappa Alpha until the breath left her body. She was 90 plus years old, still coming to programs, still on the board of our foundation, still doing things. And the golden members that I see in our chapter now, they're always there. They're always at the programs. They always want to, they're giving their ideas. They can't get around and do as much as they used to, but that's who I aspire to be. I want to be, you know, when I'm in my 80s, if I'm still able to get around, I want to still be active, still giving back and doing as much as I want to do. So those types of people that you see, you know, that we all see in our organizations just inspire us to want to continue to do and to move and to think. And it seems like, because I look at them and I'm thinking, you don't look as old as what the number says. And so that's how I want to be. I want people to say, she's how old? She's 88 years old and she's still doing that. That's how I want people to look at me. And so Regina, it is 12:47. So I don't know if there are questions and answers. I don't know when you want to move into that portion.
Alicia, thank you. I would say yes. Let's please move into the Q&A portion. I know we have one comment so far in the Q&A, which is very complimentary. Alicia, I will let you read that, but I would just like to remind and encourage everybody, if you do have questions, you can pose them using the Q&A function.
Okay, so I see here from Kay Howard, it says, I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed seeing all of your faces and listening to you all share how you add value to our community as a whole. Thank you for your shining examples of how Black uplifting is 365 days of the year. I am not a Greek, but my life has been heavily influenced by women and men who are proud Greeks. Thank you for your service and keep up the great work that you are doing. Thank you, Kay. We all appreciate it. Okay, I have a question from Christina Wilson. Can you discuss how, it went away. Can you discuss how, Christina, can you discuss how the membership process works for grad chapters for those that might be interested? Does anyone want to take that question on for your particular organization? Because I know it's probably a little bit different for each of our organizations. Anyone want to take on that question? I can talk about a little bit about Alpha Kappa Alpha. Alpha Kappa Alpha, it's by invitation only. And so if you go onto the Alpha Kappa Alpha corporate website and click on membership, it gives an overview as to how you seek membership as a graduate member. One of the things that I would encourage, if you were interested, is to go into the websites, our local websites, and look at the programs and see some of the things that we're doing in our communities, because it's something that, you may get into it and see that it's not something that you want to do because you see the things, or it may be something that enhances and piques your interest a little bit more. But come out to some of the programs and some of the things that we do, get to know some of the members, and I'm sure that they would be interested in sharing how those that might be interested could go into membership at the graduate level. Anyone else have a comment? Someone, let's see. And I have another question here. I have two questions for panelists. Do any of the programs and initiatives in your community deal with mental health issues? And I think someone said something about mental health. Gwen, was that you that talked about mental health? Because I know we used to have a partnership with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, where we did programs with them. But Gwen, do you want to address that?
I know that we do. I don't know that we have a partnership with NAMI, but I do know that one of our Z-Hope initiatives does deal with mental health. And I know that one of our sorority sisters is connected with NAMI. So there is a relationship. And that's something that's very important. We realize that, and we do work, as I've said, that's one of our Z-Hope initiatives, mental health.
Yes, actually, I'll tie in, Gwendolyn. We're actually working with, forgive me, a couple of your SARs. We're working on a program in conjunction with NAMI. We're going to be addressing mental health in the area of postpartum depression. Yes. And that actual program is actually going to be taking place March the 22nd. I also co-chair our health and wellness department committee. So we're working on that program, and we're hopefully trying to get out to the public by the end of this week, if not the beginning of next week, once we solicit all of the appropriate panelists that will be on. So that is one area of mental health that we'll be focusing on within the next coming weeks.
Okay.
Thank you, Bianca.
I have, there's another question that was in regards to the kids programs. And so I think we all have youth programs. And this question was, are the programs for legacy members, or not all of our youth programs are open to any youth in the community. We have one for girls that are between 5th and 8th grade, and then we have one for high school students who is boys and girls, but they're open to any children in the community. We welcome any, you know, any children in the community to participate in our youth programs. Anyone else? I don't know what your youth program requirements are.
Yes, our youth programs, the K through 5th grade, our reading adventures are open to both girls and boys between kindergarten and 5th grade. Our Dr. Betty Shabazz focuses on our middle school area females, and then we have the Delta Gems, which are our 9th through 12th grade girls within the Mercer County area. And most likely every local chapter has their own subset of youth programs that help towards their service area. So for my chapter, we service the Mercer County area. So we would have youth from Trenton, Ewing, Heightstown, Princeton, Hamilton, array.
Okay, and there's another question here. It's talking about, there's a couple of comments about legacy and lifetime engagement. I'm interested in intergenerational conversations of members. What has changed or not changed in the conversations over the generations? Anyone want to take that?
What has changed or not?
Go ahead, Gwen.
Well, I guess I would say as times have changed, conversations change, because things that were relevant back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s were things that the sorority focused on then. As time goes on, things change, so conversations change. But I think what's important to know is that within each group, I assume, and I can attest to my chapter, the age range is very different. We have sorors who are in our chapter who are in their 20s. We have sorors who are in their 70s and their 80s. So conversations happen, but we address the things that are going on in our communities, in our environment, that are affecting our community. So that's what conversations are about. But the age range continues to be widespread.
And I think to add to that, those that are in those 20s, you know, they're watching, as Alicia said, you know, someone's always watching, they're watching and they're learning still under the premise of what our programs and our mission and purposes are as well.
Yeah, and I agree with that, things in the community, as things change and as there are different issues that come up in the community, the sororities and the fraternities come together to address those things, specifically those things that are addressing and affecting those in the Black communities that we serve. So if there is, you know, something like during the pandemic, if there was something that was came up that we needed to address to, you know, because the underserved population was in the Black community, we were addressing that. You know, if there was something as far as voting and we needed to get people out to vote, we were addressing that and doing, you know, voter registration drives and doing panels. We have what we call political pearl talks, where we invite different people from the community, our people who represent us in our communities, to come and talk about different things that are going on in the community and how legislation is changing to, you know, for the better, to, you know, as far as issues and concerns that are coming up. So as things change, and then as if a younger generation comes and talks about something that the older generation might not be aware of, because there's a lot of things now with social media that our older members may not be aware of, but they're prevalent in the younger group. We do things and we even have trainings and things, I know within my chapter, as far as trainings on the computer, you know, Google Docs and things like that, because, you know, a lot of things more and more are going electronic. rather than paper. And someone who's 70 or 80 is used to doing things on paper, but that's no longer the way that we do things. And so we have trainings where our younger members are training our older members to use, to use Google Docs or to use Cash App, or, all these different things that are coming in electronically where, we're used to writing a check, but now you can do, you can pay your dues or pay for things through Cash App. So as things change, we jump in and we're resilient. We change with the times.
And just to piggyback off of what you just said, Alicia, it's sometimes not even changing the conversation. It's sometimes changing the delivery and how we want to present those answers to the community. Like during COVID, we all were completely shut down. There were no in-person meetings. We all were meeting virtually. We had to figure out, how do we connect with our community from home? So a lot of us jumped on, I think we were all completely Zoomed and Google Meet out, because that's how we were meeting our community. We had to figure out, how are we going to get this information to them about getting COVID vaccines? How are we going to get them information about where to pick up their weekly food bags? And how are we going to get that information to them? We had to use our technology, and hence, then we had to go back and train some of our, and I don't ever like to call our older SARs older. I like to call them our more seasoned and our more experienced SARs, because a lot of them were not as technologically advanced. So to them, it was like, what do you mean we're meeting on the computer? I don't know how to turn my camera on. What do you mean I need to get on to pay my dues? That's how we had to change our focus and change our how we were delivering our message, not only to our SARs, but to our community. Because even after post harsh COVID, we're now still delivering some of those messages through technology, through our different virtual programs, until we're able to fully be back in the masses. We had to learn different ways, and those ways are our norm now. Because now, look at us now. We probably would have done this in Pruitt Hall or in the townhouses, but now we're in the comfort of our offices and things to be able to bring this to masses, to everyone.
Well, thank you all. Thank you for that, Bianca, and thank each and every one of you. I'm going to turn it over to Christina Wilson. We have come to the end of our time period, but I just want to thank you all. This has been wonderful for me. Thank you all. Christina, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Alicia, thank you for moderating such a wonderful discussion. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christina Wilson, and I am the Associate Director of Learning Solutions and Innovative Course Design at Thomas Edison State University. I'm also the co-chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council. And the council is excited about our work to create a more diverse, inclusive, and equitable environment. The council would like to thank our panelists, Sherry, Bianca, Gwendolyn, and LaChele, for their time today, for providing us with a wonderful and enlightening presentation on the impact of Black sororities on American history, past and present, and I should say future, because I heard some things about the youth, planting trees, and financial resources. So thank you. For additional information about upcoming DEI Council events, please continue to check Capitol Campus and the TESU events page, and also check out our newsletter. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
You are welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciated this, and you guys were a pleasure to be with today. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well,
for
thank you,
having
Alicia,
Thank
for
you.
moderating. You did a great job. You really
Yes,
Thank
did.
you. Thank you.
Excellent job.
We do such great things. I love talking about our sister sororities. I love it.
I was thinking, I don't know if you guys get paid for your promotion, but I think the energy came around, and I feel like I just got I think there were 48 people on the call. Probably got all of them supporting bringing this to Thomas Edison. So in some way, shape, or form.
Yes,
Awesome.
we got to
Good.
59. 59 was our top count.
Fantastic.
Wow,
Fantastic.
that's
Thank you,
awesome.
everyone. Have a great rest of the day and
Thank
stay
you.
dry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, is
you.
it
Do as
raining
well.
outside?
Who's gonna see through it?
Oh, no, I don't have windows in my office, so I can't see.
Thank you.
Take care,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody. It's been a
Welcome.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.